So the last 6 months of my life felt a bit like a compressed decade. Breakthrough after breakthrough, layers peeled back over and over again. That clarity just hit very, very hard. And when that happens, when you start hitting real flow across mind, body, business, and even your sense of self, you will start seeing patterns. You start seeing them. So today we're talking about something way deeper than just how to stay consistent and how to optimize your routine. We're going to be talking about how growth actually works. Cycles of intensity, critical experimentation, and direct experience. So without further ado, walk with me through this raw brain dump once again on remaining discipline, and let's get straight into it. Kind of the first thing that I want to talk about is what I call the peak of Mount Stupid. And this is where all of us kind of start, right? We start in this state of blind obsession. When I first got into the gym aspect of my life or any type of business aspect of life, and then finally the trading aspect of things, and I still don't really see my mentorship or anything with my trading aspect as a business. For me, it's my real passion. The thing is, you really think that you have it all figured out within that first year, where you have it all figured out and you got it all on paper and you're like, oh, this is actually pretty easy, whether it's fitness, business, or trading. We talk about this, and that's Mount Stupid, right? It's the Dunning-Kruger effect. You learn just enough to be dangerous and think that you've made it. And with trading, it's especially that, right? You start parroting what the loudest voices say online. You're like, let's take fitness, for example, right? And you're asking yourself, is it only a calorie deficit that matters, or should I start getting into macros? And with trading, you ask yourself, is it liquidity concepts? Am I going into Wyckoff? Should I go into ICT, smart money, this, ICT, blah, blah, blah. And with your business, you're looking at outsourcing things. You're looking at funnels, paid advertisements. All in all, it's kind of that hustler's mentality, waking up at 4 a.m., taking ice baths. Sure, all these things might work short term, but long term, you notice the cracks. You start seeing the cracks and you feel them. You get diminishing returns. You're putting more in than getting out. And you hit plateaus. You hit these walls. And instead of pivoting and doubling down, instead of pivoting, you double down on the same thing. And you do that harder. And you think you need to optimize more. But in reality, you actually need to zoom out. You really need to see the bigger picture of these things. So here's the truth. And I'm going to be explaining you the perfect approach to anything, whether it's your trading system, your diet, your workflow. There is no perfect approach, right? That's the thing. And I've tried it all, especially in health, right? I've come from a backbone, surrounded as well, my network with very different type of, diets, whether it's the carnivore diet, the keto, the paleo, vegan diet. I've done it all, right? And in trading, if you know me longer than today, you've seen me. I've done everything. I've done pure price action, support and resistance, break retest trading. I've done harmonics. I've done institutional order zones. You've seen me do fib levels, ABCD strats. I've done it. And in life, I've done numerous different modes as well. Monk mode, trying to do like a superhuman optimization with different sleep schedules. I've had this party mode, and obviously I had this addiction to being in this flow state. Every optimized system works until it doesn't. And with trading, it's exactly that. You are too optimized, it starts to feel like a prison. And, with dieting, right, you feel guilty when you eat just one carb. If you're in a low carb diet, you get anxious if you're over optimizing your routine when you break your routine, and you start judging others that are not living like you, right? And that's not really mastery whatsoever. That's fragility disguised as discipline. And the issue is, fragility breaks. So what's the solution to this? The solution to this is we try to remain cyclical, right? Cycles, intensity, reflection, and integration. You need to go all in on something enough to feel the edges, to understand your parameters, to know where that container can break. And that's how you find a baseline. And that's kind of what you need to do with yourself as well, right? You find your baseline, and that's how you level up fast. 1 month of intense, focused experimentation is worth a year of aimless optimization. It hits hard enough. In trading, it could look like just locking in one pair, which is what I do now. All right, I figured that out. Journaling every single day, not taking a single trade until it fully aligns with your model. No in between bullshit. You do that for 30 days, and I can guarantee you that you'll learn more than 6 months of YouTube content that has ever taught you. But the thing is, this is the big pinnacle aspect, is you can't stay locked in forever. You don't stay in that intensity forever. You use it to break through, right? And then you build sustainability from a new baseline. And you do that with everything. The gym, big example, right? When you just break that 100 kg bench press, you just need to break through it once, right? And then you've got a baseline. And from that baseline, you can slowly start repping 102, 105, right? 110. You use that intensity. You focus on breaking that 100 PR for maybe a month. You break it and you're like, okay, I can do it. That's your baseline. And then, next month you'll hit it maybe twice if you want to max out. And then next thing you know it, you can use that as a baseline. Same with trading. So let's look at the other side of that, and kind of your safety net, right? Once you've gone deep and once you've hit those walls, what matters most is your fundamentals. What do you fall back upon when shit gets chaotic? What do you always do when life isn't optimized? In trading, it could be falling back upon one setup, one session, one process that keeps you grounded. If you've been experimenting on M5, M3, you're going off beat and you're like, holy shit, I feel like him. And then you did that for a month and you got your findings. Go back to what used to work before. Let it breathe. Assess your findings. In health, it could be going back to just the standard. You're experimenting with calisthenics. You're experimenting with upper body, lower body split. You're doing some crazy stuff. Go back to your standard PPL split, or go back to just 3 full body workouts, whatever used to work before you went into this unknown, this venture. You get your movement in, get your 10K steps in. In business, it's, what are your fundamentals in business? What were you doing? Do you have someone that you can relay with? Talk to that one person who will say yes to your offer. You don't need a perfect routine. You just need anchors. Anchors that will hold when the tide shifts. So, and you've heard this one before. You hear everyone say that, and that's kind of this common denominator. There's a reason everyone say that. You need to gamify every aspect of your life. It's a project. Trading is a skill. Your health is a skill. Your business is a skill. Your relationships are a skill. every project, every input, every thing has inputs, outputs, metrics, and iterations. Like a game. You don't just rage quit. Maybe you do, but you'll come back. So you adjust. You treat it like an experiment. You test a new variable. You collect feedback. You improve the design. And this is what most people miss. You are already so emotionally attached to the outcome, and you expect linear results in a non-linear world. But the ones who win, they detach. This isn't inputs, outputs. It's a sandbox. You're not necessarily emotionally numb, but you're emotionally intelligent. Why? Because you know how to play the long-term game, the long game. And this applies to everything. Every ideology, every truth, every dogma can be supported or debunked with the right research. And that's why direct experience, and this goes with everything, direct experience will always be better than secondhand advice. Want to know if waking up at 5 a.m. helps you? Fuck knows. Try. And it bothers me the most. And that's what I do with my students as well. It's if you want to do something, try. Right? Want to know if a different strategy fits your psychology better? You have to try it. Want to know if, eating raw liver changes your energy? You have to try it. Not only once, not for a week. Try it long enough to signal through the noise. Because dopamine doesn't lie. The right kind, the kind you earn through effort, curiosity, and purpose, will put you in that flow. If you're not willing to do that, if you're not feeling it, you haven't found that signal yet. So what's kind of the point of all of this? Why go through these cycles? Why take risks? Why experiment and put yourself through friction? Because the whole point of that is to, let's say, distill your experiences in something that will eventually help not only you, but yourself. Just like what you're doing with this video, is you're living through something that I've put out, and you will do exactly the same. You will live through something, you will learn something, and you turn something into something else that can be passed on. And that's how you build this core philosophy of yourself. How you build a brand, how you can build a business, how you can build a legacy. Experimentation, experience, expression, and then impact. So start today, go over any of the three things that we talked about, pick one of them, treat it like a lab, like this sandbox, and go super deep in it. Extract your truth from it. That's the real work. And that's where you'll get the reward.